Hi.
Congratulations on the victory. What are your initial thoughts after a back-and-forth fight like that?
I'm just happy to get a win. That's really at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm excited to watch the fight back because, my corner is all hyped up and a couple of our family and friends that are texting us are all excited about it. So I'm eager to get out of here and rewatch it just to see what everyone was talking about.
On your previous wins, a lot of it's like you've pretty much cruised to these 30-27 victories. I'm sure you've seen lock of the night, Katlyn Chookagian 30-27. But like in a fight like this, is this the fight you expected against Amanda Ribas, where she kept coming forward and she was even throwing you around in there as well?
She definitely came with more pressure than I expected. I knew she had that in her, once she started, from the fights I've seen before, once she started getting in a rhythm, she kind of picked up the pressure a little bit later, but she came out right away with that pressure. But, I'm prepared for everything. It's funny because most of the people I spar with were putting a lot of pressure, and I was getting frustrated. I'm like, my opponent doesn't have that much pressure, back up a little. And, even my coach would yell at me for complaining, and he'd be like, well, you don't know if they're going to come in pressure, so that's why I have a coach, I guess.
Are you surprised? It didn't seem like she was making too many adjustments in there when, her hands were always, moving around and stuff. And when you were finding a home for your punches and kicks, it didn't seem like she was adjusting from the outside looking in.
No, I noticed she did that in a lot of her fights. I was actually expecting her to do it more. I know, she's a tough fighter and, tough, strong, and game, but she's not very intelligent. And that's no disrespect. I just think that my fight IQ is a lot higher than most of the girls that I fight.
Then those head and arm throws that she caught you with, I think twice, did those catch you off guard? Or did you know they were coming and she just kind of caught you off balance?
They didn't catch me off guard because I actually drilled the defense for that for many times for the last 12 weeks. So it was a little frustrating because I was like, fuck, we drilled this and it didn't work. But I knew the round wasn't over, and just because you do one throw doesn't mean you win a round. So that was a big help from my cornerman, just kind of yelling at me keep going. And I knew I was frustrated that she got the throw, but then when we went to the ground, I didn't feel like any crazy dangerous threat. So I just had to keep going and get up.
And finally, I think you called out Manon Fiorot. Is that who you called out in the post-fight?
I think I called out 4 people or something, but I think she was definitely one of them in there, yeah.
Is there any specific reason you just want to stay active and she's ranked high?
Just stay active. She's active. She's ranked high, and I think her last fight she called me out, so that was pretty cool. Nothing specific. It's nice to have fresh faces in the division, especially up in the top of the division, so that sparks my interest.
What did you make of the Vivian Araujo and Andrea Lee fight earlier?
I was watching that right before I started warming up, and I was like, ooh, this is pumping me up. But yeah, it was an amazing performance by Vivian. I actually fought both of them. I fought Andrea Lee long time ago, but I think Vivian was one of my favorite wins because I know she's such a good fighter, and seeing her come back from the beginning of that round was awesome. I thought that was a really good fight. And it's good to see amazing fights in the flyweight division. I think over the past year, the flyweight division's evolving so much, and you're seeing fresh faces and just different girls that are becoming better, and it's becoming a deeper, more interesting division.
Just one for me. Still, when they raised your arms, it looked like you could see some emotion on your face. Were you 100% sure that you got that victory, or what was going through your head at that moment? Did she maybe test you a little bit more so than you thought, or was it maybe a little tougher than you thought it was going to be going in there?
No, I just kind of, whenever it goes to decisions, you don't know. I watch every fight every Saturday night from beginning to end, and there's some fights where I'm like, oh, that person killed it, and I'll go into the kitchen, I come back, and I'm like, wait, what? The decision went the other way? So when fighters say they're confident they won, I feel like they're lying, or they don't watch fights and don't know how judging can go sometimes. But I felt that I won, but you never know with the decisions. I knew it was a tough and a very competitive fight, but yeah, just all that matters is getting your hand raised, and I was super happy.
At the very end, you both were willing to kind of go into that rock'em sock'em mode. Is that fun for you, and is it good that you had a willing partner, but is also on the flip side good for you because somebody was willing to do it and you were able to push through it, and from what looked like to me, did the bigger damage in those flurries?
Yeah, she kind of initiated that, and I think it worked out better for me because she kind of brought that out. She started that, and it brought it out of me, and I was like, okay, I'm game too. I usually don't make those noises, but I can do this too, and I'll show you. But yeah, it's just fun. It's nice to have opponent that's, game like that. And, her coming up to a division fighting number one, she, didn't really show me any respect, which was, amazing on her part. And I think that played out to make it a great fight.
I was going to say, that was going to be my final question. She made the move, going into fight somebody bigger, throws a lot harder than what she's used to. What are your thoughts on her? Does she, if she wanted to make this move again, do you think she has a place to maybe be able to go between the two different divisions? Or do you think this was probably a one-time play because they were trying to give her the number one contender?
I don't know. I think, if I were her, I would be like, oh, okay, a split decision with the number one. I could do this, So, I mean, if I were her and I could fight in two divisions at once, why not do that if you want to stay active? She didn't feel any smaller, weaker than any other girl I fought. If anything, she felt the same as all the other girls that I fought in the division. So she definitely can fight in any division she wants.
Congrats on the victory.
Thank you.
You mentioned fighting Manon. The UFC are going to Paris for the first time in September. Would you be interested in fighting her there?
Is it warm there in September?
It's all right. It's not super cold. It would be, I don't know what.
Like a sweater?
Yeah,
Okay.
A light sweater, maybe a cardigan.
Okay, I could do a cardigan. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it
cardigan
sounds
fight.
cuter.
Cardigan. Learn the language.
Good. Thank you.